Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Brandon. Welcome to Audio Addiction, where you finally it's album reviews. You can find our band interviews, and you can find live coverage of the concerts that we get. If I sound a little off, I'm just been kind of a little bit under the weather, starting to get something, so I'm hopefully going to be getting over it really soon. Also, just got back from launch this past weekend. Got a ton of awesome footage and interviews to come, so I'm really excited for you guys to check all of that out. Also, I'll be interviewing Tesseract this Friday. On the release date of this album, April 20th. So if you have any questions, leave them down below. Also, let me know what you think about the album as well. I'd love to know your thoughts on it as well too. So tonight, without further ado, we're going to be talking about Tesseract's new record, Sonder. So for those of you who haven't heard about this band, they are from the UK, and they kind of have that progressive metal vibe to them, and I've always really kind of loved this band, but never really gotten deep into them. I've always loved Dan Tompkins' voice, and I'm glad that he is back in the band. As of, I know the last record he did, Polaris, but this one's the one that I really got into and started listening to. Shoutouts to Mike. He's the one who got me this a little bit early, so shoutouts to Mike. He is the man. But I haven't really been on this band as much as I should be. They are really great, and I'm so grateful to be interviewing them and talking with them about this new record. But I'm going to go through each track, give you my thoughts and opinions on it, some pros and cons I felt like were important on this record, and then finish it out with an overall rating. So the first track is called Luminary. They released 3 singles over this time period, being Luminary, like I mentioned, King, and Smile more recently. Those were all 3 singles that they had released from the record, and I think they were all great. But we're going to get into the first one. But I've always felt like Tesseract was able to really incorporate ambient elements into a heavy track, unlike any other band that I've heard in a while. Maybe another band that I can definitely think of that does it well is Periphery. I know that they have been around for probably just as long or maybe even longer, but I've always loved that they've included those sorts of thoughts and processes into their music. The intro has a nice balance of just the ambience as well as having heavy moments in the track as well. Really enjoy that. Dan's vocals have this glimmer to them in the voices, and then kind of really picks up more in the choruses. I like that this band knows how to have bigger moments in the song and show more kind of reservations in the verses. I feel like the verses showcase more of that softer, more thoughtful side of the music, and the choruses highlight their more explosive, bigger nature, the way that they're able to construct tracks and have that big pounding moment that you expect from Tesseract. I like the dynamics, and I think that is what really makes this track synonymous and just kind of a standout track off the record. So we're gonna move into track number 2, which is King. Like I mentioned, this was the other single that released, and it's kind of a cool comparison in between Luminary and King, is that this one has more darker undertones to it. There's another track off this record that also has a similar vibe to it as well, and I like that this one brings out more of the aggression from Dan's side. He does incorporate some screams. While there isn't a ton of screams, I feel like they just fit well into certain parts of the songs where it really needs it, where it's a heavy moment, and it's not just kind of, I wouldn't say littered with just a bunch of screams. It's just really thoughtful, it's methodical, and I like that. Dan's vocals really kind of range from great falsettos to screams, like I mentioned, that really cut through the track, and I felt like this one really showcases that off very well. I like that the space that they're able to create in the song, going back to this sort of ambience of what they do, I feel like that is really the strong note, along with Luminary. I feel like those really kind of work well. I would say especially in the bridge is where those ambient kind of softer, more kind of a little bit more, I wouldn't even say muted because that's the wrong word, but just like more thought out in the bridges. I like that the song while being a 7 minute song, almost a 7 minute song, really kind of encapsulates you and really, makes you think about the melodies or kind of the more heavier notes in this song. It really works, and I think that they have really been able to do that very well. I know a lot of their songs are kind of on that, kind of borderline between like 4 minutes, and they can go even longer than that. Which is really nice. And I think as somebody who does a lot of reviews and stuff like that, I feel like being able to encapsulate a listener for that long is really good, and I think it speaks well for their band for sure. I like that the song takes a journey and then just finishes out strong. The group vocals towards the end of the track was really cool, and I think it was just kind of like a subtle note throughout the record. So we're gonna move into track number 3, which is Orbital. This one kind of creates a really awesome sonic landscape. I like that the track really carries Dan's vocals in a unique and kind of soft and very thoughtful way. It's really awesome. The instrumentation really backs up Dan's kind of more glassy, more falsetto-y, more just kind of more melodic style vocal in this track. And it's a nice kind of palate cleanser after King, which was kind of a little bit more of a heavier track. So we're going to move into track number 4, which is Juno. This one has a huge tone to it, especially in the intro. Really kind of just hits you right in the ears. It's really awesome. The intro just pounds, and I like how it is recycled in the chorus. I think that is really sick, and I've always felt like they have been really creative in kind of setting up a song in a unique way, where there will be one part and one song, and then later on it will kind of reoccur in another portion, whether it be a bridge, a chorus later on, or a verse, or something along those lines. They really kind of interweave their songs and just the way that they think about stuff, and it would be kind of cool to pick their brains about that. I also like the off time signature off in this track, and I like how towards the second part, I think the second verse, they really change up the tempo and it gets a little bit more faster, and I think that is really cool. The verses are my definite favorite part of the track. I like that in the first part of the verse, the bass is kind of highlighted. It's very thought out, and you can definitely hear it. It just has this cool slapped sort of thump feel to it, very much in the style of like Victor Wooten, which is really sick, and I love hearing that in a song. I like Dan's more melodic approach in terms of his vocal styling in this track, and the instrumentation is absolutely killer on this track. I definitely feel like it's one of the best tracks off the record, just by arrangement and just thoughtfulness, and just vocally. I feel like everything kind of is just a perfect sort of thing, and it lines up awesomely in this track. So we're gonna move into track number 5, which is Beneath My Skin. There's this really awesome harmonic guitar intro. It's very melodic, it's very ambient, and you can definitely notice those sorts of things in this track. I also like that this one also has some more darker undertones to it, and Dan's vocals play into that field. They have this sort of haunting, very kind of dark sound to it, which is awesome. And from the 1 minute and 35-second mark to the 1 minute and 55-second mark, there's this really awesome instrumentation. The guitar work, the drumming, the bass lines are awesome. I think they are kind of highly underrated in this song, but that is kind of a standout moment in this song, particularly for me. Then the song kind of changes tonally. It becomes more rhythmic, with Dan's sort of glassy cleans thrown over top of it, and they just ride the song super well. I like how the bass cuts in and out in the bridge. I think that was a little kind of interesting little antidote, and I really like that, and I think this song definitely gets better towards the end of this song, Beneath My Skin, especially towards the end. The ending is just primo, and I love it. So we're gonna move into track number 6, which is Mirror Image. just kind of a note throughout the entire record. I love how cohesive each track is, and I like how they bleed very well into each other. There aren't really kind of a jump, I guess a cut. They just kind of flow into each other. It's just really thoughtful, and it's really thoughtful songwriting and song structure. Each song just blends very well into each other, and if I wasn't listening to it and seeing it with my eyes, I would have thought that, it felt like kind of, I don't even know what the word for it is. It just feels very thought out and just just arranged super well. So, but getting back to Mirror Image, I like that this one has more of the stylings of orbital. It has ambience, it has space to it, without going in that sort of heavier route that a lot of these tracks kind of go into, but it really takes that melodic approach and really runs with it. The song focuses more on the sort of lead guitars and just the layering. You can hear that, especially in this one. It almost feels like Orbital 2.0, if I could say so. It just works. There's this awesome atmosphere in the song, and each track, each part in this song just kind of feels like a building block to the next part in each song. So really enjoyed Mirror Image, but we're gonna move into track number 7, which is Smile, the most recent single. And I love how this combines a lot of my favorite aspects from Sonder so far. It really has an awesome big opening, very reminiscent of Juno from earlier, and I like that the guitars and bass have more of the rhythmic styling, more particularly in also Juno as well, and in tracks like Luminary, even in King. Really works out well. And I like what they did with the vocals in certain parts. There also has some like octave lower or some echoes in Dan's vocals. I think it's really cool. I would have loved if they did a little bit more just interesting stuff vocally with maybe some harmonies or some interesting lines that would have made it cool. I like that he's incorporating a lot of screams in this track. More specifically in this part between 2 minutes and 22 seconds and then 3 minutes and 36-second mark. That part absolutely goes hard. Probably one of the heaviest moments on this record for sure. And those screams were just A1. I loved them so much. This song is easily one of the better tracks off the record. Probably one of my favorites, without a doubt, being up there with Juno, and Beneath My Skin, and probably Luminary. Those are my favorites so far. And then we're going to move into the last track, The Arrow. Love the layered and harmonized vocals in this track. Like I mentioned in Smile, I like that they kind of did this in The Arrow. I love how expansive the track gets, and it almost feels like a continuation of Smile, which is really nice. I would have loved if they carried it on a little bit more, this being the shortest track off I guess it's kind of a record. It's a short record, I'd say. I mean, it's either that or it's a long EP. I don't know the semantics of that. But I would have loved if they went further with the idea on this song. I think they had a really good thing going, and they kind of stopped it prematurely. I think it's a good closer track, but it could have been a lot more, in my particular opinion. So we're going to go through some pros and cons in this record. Some pros: it's very heavy. I would say more heavier than their previous Polaris, in my opinion. I didn't really give Polaris much of a listen, but from what I remember, it being more melodic and a little bit softer, but there are some vibes of that on this record. I like that there's some really thoughtful writing. Like I've been mentioning previously, the songs kind of bleed well into each other, and I think that being a band for so long and having that sort of clout and that legacy, they're able to create tracks that just flow well with each other, and they're just incredible songwriters. So I think that if anything is one of the highlights of this record, is just that it's very thought out, it's very methodical, and being a band for so long, I mean, I think they do it super well. There is some great combination of new and old vibes from this record, everything from One to Altered State to their most recent record besides this one, Polaris, and even some of the more like off-brand stuff that they do. I think it really worked. Some pros, I mean, some of the cons that I had about this record, I just wish it was a bit longer. I would have felt like if they had another heavier track, or they had another melodic track, or they had both. I feel like this this would have been more of a complete record. I think it's very thought out, but I would have loved to hear more. I think any fan would have loved to hear more from Tesseract, but I think overall with the tracks that they have, it works out well. And another con, like I've just mentioned previously, the arrow, they could have done a lot more with it being, I think it's only like 2.5 minutes. They definitely could have done more with that one, and I would have loved to hear kind of a continuation of it as well. I definitely want to pick up the CD. They have kind of a stereoscopic album, and there's some extra stuff that they added onto it, and if you play both records at the same time, you can kind of get that overall like 360 sort of sound to it. If I can get it, I might do it live on YouTube here, so if you want to come hang out for that, I will probably be doing that as well. But my overall rating for Tesseract Sonder, I'm going to be giving it a 9.5 out of 10. I think it's one of their best works. I think it combines a lot of old and new stuff, and I think a lot of fans are going to be really excited to check out this record. If you live in North America, they're going to be touring with Pliny and Astronoid. I'm pretty sure I said that band right. If not, I'll put the poster somewhere around here. Like I said earlier, I'm going to be interviewing them, so let me know in the comments if you have any questions for them. I'd love to be able to get some of you guys some answers on them as well, and let me know in the comments as well what you thought on the record. Do you think my opinion's correct? Do you think it's not? I'd love to have a conversation about the new record. Like I said, it comes out April 20th, this Friday. I'm super stoked for you all to hear this, and to catch any future content from us. Please subscribe, please hit that thumbs up button, please hit that notification bell so you're notified of when anything new comes out. Got a ton of awesome stuff to put out and get out to you guys as soon as possible. Can't thank you guys enough for your immense support. It really does mean the absolute world to me, so thank you for that. If you got any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments or DM me. I'm usually pretty much on here all the time. So my name is Brandon. We hope you got your fix, and we'll be talking with you soon. Peace. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com, and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.